It's spring now, the weather's improved, and I can't wait to get out again with my radio equipment. And I've been watching some videos by HL1KKC, who is amazing. He goes out with his QRP radio and antennas, and he goes out on his bike, on his scooter, he goes skiing, he does a marathon first, he goes to Korean cafes and barbecues and camping with his ham friends, and has a great time. And I think that's very inspiring. I think these are the best radio videos on YouTube, and I highly recommend them. I've also seen some posts from other people who love doing this kind of thing, and I noted one the other day from Peter 007NZ, who had had a very successful Sunrise QRP session and made lots of contacts. And that sounds really interesting to me. And having watched Choi, HL1KKC, it's inspired me to have a bit more fun instead of just doing the radio. So while I'm busy here, I've asked my wife while she's out if she would buy some nice food for our breakfast tomorrow. So we're going to head out to a beauty spot nearby called Cothelstone Hill, which is quite hard to say. And that's in the Quantock Hills, which is a hill range nearby in the southwest of England in Somerset. And we're going to have some fun with QRP at sunrise. It's afternoon now, and it's a good time to get ready and get all the equipment together, because I'm going to be up at 4 AM or something like that. So let's take a look at the equipment I'm going to take and make sure I pack it well. So the first thing I need, of course, is a transceiver, and I think tomorrow I'll use my QCX. I have two of them, QCX Mini, one for 20 meters and one for 17 meters. And of course, to use these and listen to them, I need some headphones. I have some cheap headphones here, and sometimes I use my Sony Cube with a jack plug, TRS plug. And of course, to make a contact, I'll need a key, and I'm going to use the Bamatech Bamakey TPIII, which is absolutely fantastic. And I really recommend these keys. I'll leave a link in the description. And then, of course, to power the QCX Mini or anything else, I'm going to need some power. So I've got my homemade battery box, which is 3D printed, and that has four 18650 cells and a voltage regulator to give me exactly 12 volts, along with some decoupling capacitors to get rid of any noise or RF that it picks up. So I have a voltmeter in this, and I can check the voltage and check when I need to charge the batteries. And to do that, I just use my IntelliCharger, which is also a very good piece of kit. Obviously I won't take that with me, and then if I just push the switch the other way, it's now supplying 12 volts ready to use in the QCX Mini. So just pop the lid back on there for a moment, and then of course probably the most important thing to get any decent result is a good antenna. And I tend to use these small resonant antennas, which I make myself. This one has a 17 meter trap in the green cylinder, and the rest is resonant on 20 meters, and it's easy to connect and very easy to unwind, and all 3D printed. Has a little hook on the end to enable it to join onto something and be strung up in the air. So that's most of it. I think I'll also take my Rockmite, which I love. This is my 20 meter Rockmite, and it's so exciting if you can get a contact with such a simple radio on such low power. Then of course I'm going to need some cables just to make sure I join everything together. And from the radio side, that's pretty much it. All the radio gear's packed in my rucksack. And one other vital thing I forgot to mention was the notepad with a list of what to take, and to be my logbook for the session, and of course a pen. So to get my antenna up in the air, I'm going to need a mast, and I'm going to use my Sotabeams Tactical Mini. I hope that's readable, and this is a great piece of kit. It's really easy to put up. It's 6 meters high, and it comes with some cords, some guy ropes, and I've made my own 3D printed fittings, which makes it really easy to slide the guy ropes up and down. If I'm on my own, I can put this up easily and adjust the tension and heights. And I have an additional guy rope just to tension the antenna at the top. And then I'm going to need some tent pegs to hold the guy ropes in place, and always some cable clips and some bungees. Very useful things. And another great tip for this sort of expedition is a pair of decent gloves. I've got some old cycling gloves here, which make it much easier when gripping the mast and putting it up and keeping everything under control. So that's all I'm going to need from putting up the antenna and the radio point of view. And there's just a couple more things I'm going to need in a moment. I've found the other things I need. I'm going to take 2 picnic blankets so that we can stay dry and sit on the ground. And I'm going to take a couple of these fold up steps. They're actually sold as steps, but we use them as tables, we use them as seats, we use them for everything. And what I normally do is cable tie my antenna to one of those so it's ready to act as a mini table for my QRP station. So I think that's everything I'm going to need for this expedition, except one absolutely vital part of it, which is to find out what my wife has got ready for us to eat in our delicious QRP Sunrise breakfast. Right, I've just finished packing all the radio stuff, so what do you think we can have for breakfast tomorrow?
Well, I've already thought, and I've bought a couple of really enormous croissants from a local bakery, and I've got here a selection of jams that we might choose from, 3 of which I grew the fruit as well, and then the blackberry was like a hedgerow jam collected last autumn. So we've got to make a decision there. And then I am going to make a fruit compote from these forest fruits, and also toast some muesli to make a granola. So I've got a mixture of muesli flakes, I've got sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, almonds, cashew nuts, and there's going to be some maple syrup in there as well. So just toast that up to make a nice crunchy mix. And I've got some yoghurt to step that with. And then I think that will go nicely with some hot chocolate, which we can take in our insulated mugs.
That's fantastic.
Does that sound good?
That sounds absolutely amazing. I can't wait for tomorrow morning. It's about half an hour till sunrise is getting light. Fantastic dawn chorus of the birds. And so it's time to load the car and get going. Here we go. Okay, so here we are. The sun's coming up. It's time to get the stuff out of the car and head on up the hill. Here we go. So there's the path, and this is where we're going. A special place, rich in wildlife and archaeological features. You see the bluebells. Take a look at the sky. That's the sea, and that's Hinkley Point where the power station is, yeah. One of the world's biggest construction sites. Wow, that's amazing, isn't it? On the way. Now we're left. I guess we go up, right? Or is it up here? Right, there goes my breakfast. Let's see.
So that's the only reason I'm here.
Left, right.
Straight up.
Here comes the sunshine. There's the sun just coming through the trees. Just coming up properly. Wow. Bluebells, maybe. Now look at that sun. Wow. Wow. It's beautiful, isn't it? So this clump of trees is called the Seven Sisters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, there are. Let's have another look around. Yeah, there's Hinkley Point again, and the estuary, and the sun coming up over the Quantocks, and what a lovely view. As we're coming up to 5 o'clock UTC. That's it, through the Seven Sisters.
Woodpecker just flew into that tree.
It's kind of here.
Yeah, so he sit here.
Okay. It's a bit missing. Oh, it says it chopped down.
What's that?
There it is. This bit went missing. I had a bit of trouble with this antenna at the weekend. I hope it's okay. I forgot to check it properly. Strawberry jam.
The strawberry jam.
I bet. There's something going on here in Eastern Europe. Let's see if I can get in there in a minute. Look at all those bluebells. Wow.
What's your drink, okay?
Oh, lovely. Hot chocolate. Delicious. Croissant. Thank you.
Cocoa, really.
Cocoa. Okay. Look at that. Strawberry jam. Wow. Delicious. It's a great morning, and I've made one contact and had some breakfast. OK1 FPG, who was kind enough to give me a report, so I know now everything's working, because I wasn't sure at first. And the sun's right behind me, and I've realised I'm surrounded by native bluebells, which are really beautiful and special. They can be quite hard to find these days, because we also have an imported Spanish variety that tends to take over, and these don't seem to realise they're supposed to be a woodland plant. They're out in the open. So what was the difference, Janet, about them?
Well, the native bluebell is a much more delicate flower than the imported one. Tends to be a darker blue. The stems curve over, and then the flowers are quite tubular with these little reflex sections at the bottom. Whereas the imported ones are just much coarser. They tend to be a paler blue. They're quite often a very upright flower.
Yeah.
So they're easy to tell apart.
That's great, thanks. Beautiful. Yes, IZ3NY. What time is it? He's nice and loud, isn't he? Sweden, that is. He's turning his beam towards me. Cool. He'll get stronger. That's great. What a nice bloke. I didn't get his name though.
Oh,
After the recording, I don't think he said it. And he was in his Stockholm. He's doing a kilowatt with a beam which he turned towards me.
It's like the beacon.
I've got my 5 watts. And he said he could hear most of it, but some of it faded out. Very nice comments. That was good. Great. Right, let's have a break for a moment. That was really good. It's worth coming just for that, wasn't it? Oh, it's good, isn't it?
It does look good.
Delicious, yeah.
What have you got? You've got yogurt, fruit compote and granola.
Fruit. Look at that. Delicious. After breakfast, Janet went for a walk to see the bluebells in the forest, and I made some more contacts. The most distant being a KP4 station on the coast of Puerto Rico, about 5,300 miles or 8,500 kilometers. The operator was KO4GBD, and he was using about 100 watts, and of course I was QRP with just 5 watts and a tiny piece of wires and antenna. Amazing. Back in Europe, the contacts were also really interesting and included Italy, Bulgaria, 2 in Sweden and 2 in the Czech Republic, plus DL2SWW, a German station operating with a Danish OZ prefix from Laser Island between Denmark and Sweden. What a great QRP session this was. He's getting endlessly called by Japan. I'm very jealous. Got him. So after a couple of hours we headed home, and we had a great time being out in the country, eating some lovely breakfast and of course operating a QRP radio station. And in the year or so I've been fully back at operating amateur radio again. That's one of the aspects of the hobby that I've probably enjoyed most. It's great to get out into the countryside, string up an aerial anywhere, an antenna, use some low power and make some contacts. And it's a real thrill. I recommend it. I recommend both QRP operation if you haven't done it before and portable operation. With QRP, I don't care if I get 1 contact or 100 contacts or maybe even none. It's just a real thrill and a challenge to operate with low power. And when you do make a contact, it's absolutely brilliant. So I hope you enjoyed this video, a bit of a departure from my normal, slightly more technical videos. And I hope I've encouraged some more people maybe to get out and do the same, go out into the country, operate your radio, use some QRP. And I'll be back soon with more videos about amateur radio, electronics and technology in general. So thanks for watching.